Craig Schwartz, an unemployed puppeteer, in New York City, is facing unemployment, because no one is looking for a puppeteer. His wife, Lotta, wants him to find another job. She leaves for work, and asks him to look after Elijah, the chimp. Craig wants to be like the famous puppeteer, Derek Mantini. Craig spends his time puppeteering, on the streets for money. He enacts a sex scene, while a child watches. The dad of the child punches him in the face. Craig finally gives in, and finds a job as a clerk, at Lester Corp. The company is listed at 7.5 floor. But the elevator doesn't have a button for it. Another person in the elevator helps him to the floor. He reaches the floor, where the ceiling is too low. He proceeds with his interview, with Dr. Lester. He gets the job and proceeds with the orientation. The orientation shows the reason behind low ceiling. In 1800, a dwarf woman requested the original owner of the building, an Irish immigrant, for a place that's made with her stature in mind. So, the owner, moved by her, marries her, and creates a floor between 7 and 8. Another co-worker, Maxine Lund, tells Craig that the story is fake. He finds himself attracted to her, but she is not interested. Lotta wants to have a baby, but Craig wants to wait until they are financially stable. At work, Craig tries to flirt with Maxine, but she calls him out. Later, Craig asks Maxine out for a drink, which she accepts. Craig goes with Dr. Lester at a juice bar, where Dr. Lester spills his sexual fantasies to him. Craig, getting late for his date, lies to Dr. Lester, and leaves. He meets up with Maxine at the bar. He tells her that he likes her. He tells her that he is a puppeteer. Hearing this, she calls for check. Craig comes home, and apologizes to Lotta, for being late. Lotta goes to bed, while Craig goes to his workshop. He creates puppets for himself, and Maxine. He enacts a romantic conversation, between the two. He makes the two puppets kiss. At work, Maxine tells him she is not interested, because he plays with dolls. He tells her that the way he feels about her, he doesn't feel that way about anyone else, not even his wife. He feels like they belong together. She says ah, and leaves. While working, Craig discovers a hidden door. He goes through the door, and finds himself in the mind of John Malkovich. Craig watches through John's POV, as he takes a cab to Broadhurst Theater. Suddenly, Craig is pulled back, and falls on the side of a road. He goes to meet Maxine at the office, and tells her about the door, and the portal. Maxine ignores him, and leaves. Later at night, Maxine calls Craig, and tells him that they can sell tickets, $200 a pop, to Malkovich. Craig thinks it might be dangerous, but Maxine persuades him. Craig tells Lotta everything, and that he will be working a lot of late nights. Lotta doesn't believe him. She says she want to try it. He takes her to the door. Craig meets up with Lotta at the ditch, on the side of the road. Lotta wants to go back, saying that being John Malkovich made her realize who she really is. They go to Dr. Lester's house for dinner. Lotta leaves for washroom, but instead, enters a room with full of pictures of Malkovich. There is entire timeline of Malkovich's life on the wall. Next day, Lotta visits Craig at work, while they are placing an ad for the portal. She wants to be Malkovich again. She believes that she is transsexual, and wants to make sure by being Malkovich again. Craig thinks that this is just a phase. Maxine asks Craig to let her do it. After they leave, Maxine calls someone, and asks for Malkovich's home number. Maxine calls Malkovich, while Lotta is inside him, and asks him for dinner at 8. After being thrown out, Lotta tells Craig that she has to go back at exactly 8. Maxine meets Malkovich, while Lotta is inside him. Lotta feels thrilled, seeing a woman talk to Malkovich, and feels Maxine is really beautiful. After being thrown out, Lotta tells Craig that they should invite Maxine to dinner. Craig and Maxine meet up with their first customer. He pays them $200, and goes through the door. Craig meets up with him at the ditch. Craig, Lotta, and Maxine meet up at dinner. After dinner, while Maxine is rolling a joint, Craig and Lotta both try to kiss her. Maxine tells Craig that she is not interested, and tells Lotta that she is interested, but only when she is inside Malkovich. Maxine leaves. Next night, people are waiting in line to be John Malkovich. Maxine and Lotta fix up a date with Malkovich at 4:11 a.m. Craig lies sad and lonely in his bed. Maxine visits Malkovich and waits for Lotta to be inside him. Maxine starts making out with him at 4:11. Lotta goes home and finds Craig awake. Craig is upset at Lotta. Lotta reveals that she knows about the Maxine puppet. Next day, Maxine tells Craig that she has fallen in love. She says, "It's quite a thrill when two people look at you with lust and devotion, through the same pair of eyes." Craig leaves in anger, and runs home. He hides under the table, with a gun. When Lotta arrives, he points the gun at her. He forces her to call Maxine, and arrange a meet-up in an hour. He ties her up, and locks her in a cage. Maxine visits Malkovich, and makes out with him. Malkovich starts saying whatever Craig is saying inside him. Malkovich freaks out. Craig visits home, excited, telling Lotta that he made Malkovich move his arms. He wants to make Malkovich his puppet. Malkovich has Charlie Sheen at his house, telling him about his experience. Charlie doesn't believe him, saying it was because he was stoned. Malkovich thinks it's Lotta talking through him, because Maxine likes to call him Lotta. At night, Malkovich follows Maxine to her office. He sees a line of people waiting to be John Malkovich for 15 minutes. Malkovich, trying to cut the line, falls into a pile of files. Craig finds him. He explains to Malkovich that they simulate the experience of being him. Malkovich wants to try it. He goes through the door and enters a hotel. The woman he's having dinner with looks like him, and so does everyone else. All he can hear is Malkovich. He looks at the menu and can only see the word Malkovich. Every guest at the hotel is Malkovich. He sees the female Malkovich singer singing Malkovich. He runs out of the hotel and falls at the ditch, along with another person who went through the door before Malkovich. Malkovich wants to seal that portal. He's going to sue him. At home, Craig and Lotta have an argument. Craig realizes he's become a monster. Lotta says that he's not a monster, just a confused person. He tells her he loves her. He opens the cage. Lotta calls Maxine, asking to meet. They set up a meet in Malkovich in an hour. Craig ties Lotta up again. Seeing Lotta tied up, the chimp has a flashback of his parents being tied up, and him unable to help. He unties Lotta's hands. Lotta calls Maxine, and tells her about Craig. Maxine is impressed with Craig's ability to control Malkovich. Lotta is devastated. Maxine visits Malkovich, who is now being controlled by Craig. Malkovich tries to take back control, but fails. Lotta visits Dr. Lester. She tells him about the room she saw earlier, at his house. He explains her that he is the original owner of the building, Captain Murden. 90 years ago, he discovered a portal that led to a vessel body. And he could live forever, by leaping from vessel to vessel. Dr. Lester is one such vessel. Meanwhile, Craig tells Maxine that he has found a way to stay in Malkovich for as long as he wants. Captain Murden, on the other hand, plans to move into Malkovich on his 44th birthday. He must do it by midnight, otherwise, he will slip into an infant and be trapped in its mind. He explains he got lonely in Lester's mind, so he figured a way to bring others with him this time. Meanwhile, Maxine wants Craig to stay in Malkovich forever. Craig agrees. Lester offers Lotta a place in Malkovich, along with the others. Lotta tells Lester everything. Craig in Malkovich's body visits his agent and declares he is no longer an actor, but a puppeteer. 8 months pass. Maxine is pregnant. John has become a world-famous puppeteer. Malkovich heads to the theater for a puppet show. After the show, Malkovich returns home with a cake for his 44th birthday. He gets a call from Lester, telling him they kidnapped Maxine. He wants Craig to leave Malkovich. John hangs up the phone. Lotta tries to kill Maxine, but Maxine goes through the portal, and Lotta follows her. They enter Malkovich's subconscious, where a young Malkovich is witnessing his parents having sex. Maxine runs through Malkovich's life, while Lotta chases after her. They see Malkovich being bullied in his early childhood. Being made fun of, for peeing in his pants. They both gets pulled out, and fall into the ditch. Maxine grabs the gun. Maxine tells Lotta that the baby is hers. She got pregnant when Lotta was in Malkovich. Craig, drunk in a bar, enters into a fight. Later he calls Lester, and tells him that he is leaving Malkovich's body. Craig falls in the ditch. Malkovich wakes up, thinking he is free. Lester along with others, enter the portal. Malkovich gets possessed again. Maxine and Lotta leave together, leaving Craig heartbroken. He swears to enter the portal again. 7 years pass. Charlie Sheen visits Malkovich. Malkovich has married Lester's receptionist. He tells Sheen about Maxine's daughter, Emily, the next vessel body. The movie ends with the revelation that Craig, having entered the portal after midnight, is trapped in Emily's brain, without being able to control her. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.